Who said that poly was a good idea? Men. What is polygamy? Poly is when a man has multiple wives. Having multiple girlfriends is not polygamy. That is not how polygamy works. Having multiple girlfriends is what you call someone who is hypersexual. No amount of women can quench a hypersexual man's thirst for women and sex. It's a sexual addiction. But our society has made it normal, made it look cool, when it should be treated as a mental illness. The truth is poly does not benefit women at all, nor was it designed to benefit women. The only reason why women do it is because men have convinced women that they need to be open to sharing a man sharing one dick. And women who don't share a man are insecure. Don't let them fool you. But let's talk about the actual history of polygamy that a lot of people who call themselves poly ignore. Powerful men like wealthy men and kings were the only men who practiced polygamy. Why? Because you have to be able to provide for all your wives. Meaning you have to have a lot of money to take care of your many children and many wives. Let's go back to Imperial China year 1424. The secret filthy lives of concubines. They would have to compete against each other. These women were lonely and depressed. These women were not allowed to outlive the king, so you know what that means.
Away, 30 concubines who were living among many others in the royal harem were handed the dreaded blood-red piece of silk clothing in a square shape. This little piece of fabric meant that these 30 concubines were considered his favorite by the Yongle Emperor. It also meant they were supposed to not live after the emperor. The life of a concubine in the Forbidden City was as dangerous as lavish, as forced as frivolous, and as punishable as pleasurable. How lonely and depressing were their lives.
Life was so oppressive for women in poly relationships that it was outlawed in a lot of places. Because of the conditions these women were subject to. Nowadays, black men are pushing their poly agenda onto women. But these men are not kings, nor do they have the finances to take care of more than one woman. To the point, if you ask them to provide, they get mad. They are not providers. They are a bunch of horny men with no self-control or respect for themselves or others. Having a lot of women is how they overcompensate for being controlled by the colonizer. Controlling women makes them feel powerful. Did you know that there is 92% failure rates with these poly relationships? They do not end well. A lot of poly relationships ended in murder of women by the man they were sharing. Here are a few examples. The bottom line is polygamy is borderline pimp game. It is a sex cult about male worship. Just recently, Nature Boy, the spiritual leader of Carbon Nation, he was poly, had multiple wives/girlfriends, and he abused them, even them. I am sure each and every one of those beautiful black women have a horror story to tell. So the conclusion is poly does no benefit women, it only benefits women. Your emotional needs etc. will not be met. Thanks for watching. This message has been presented to you by Sunabe the Messiah.